Hey everyone, Alex from cnc-o-rama here, and I'm going to show you how to make a swirly vase like this. And then when I say make, I mean design it, and then you could 3D print it later. So I'm just going to go to a new design here, and we're going to start with a sketch. I pick any plane generally, and then we want to do a line. Let's do a horizontal line to the right from the origin, and maybe let's make this 2 inches. And then escape to get out of that. And then I want to do a vertical line from the origin, and let's make this one 6 inches. And then let's do another horizontal line from there. Maybe make this 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to do a fit point spline, and I only want 2 points on this spline, so I'm going to do this and then the end point here, and then enter. And then this is where the creativity comes in. So I'm going to play with the bars at the end of this spline and just get it to shape a little more like a vase, like I'm used to seeing it. So maybe something like that, and drag this a little bit. So that's up to you to dial in these little details. So I got that. Now I want to revolve this. So my profile is this area. My axis is going to be the left line there, and I'm going to do a 360-degree revolve. And then I got my my vase there. Okay. So now we want to create some geometry. Actually, let's first make this a hollow vase. So I'm going to shell this. So if you click shell, select this face, and then I'm going to do 0.25. So there we already have a vase. And then we can work on the swirly part here. So I'm going to first create a sketch on the bottom face of this. And I'm just going to create a horizontal line out here in space that's longer than the vase is wide. So I did a line, escape. And then I want to do a midpoint constraint between this line and the origin. So that line is nearly fully defined. It's only the length that's here. And actually, somehow I got an extra line there. I'll delete that. And I lost my horizontal constraint. There we go. So I got a single line there. I'm going to finish sketch. And even though I'm out of this sketch, I can still drag these points around. So that's kind of a cool thing to know. So now I want to do a offset plane, and I'm going to go either from the bottom of the vase or from this plane, whichever. I'll go up just somewhere above the top of the vase. And then I want to create a sketch on this plane. And now I'm going to do another line, but I'm going to do it at some kind of random angle here. And then I want to do the same thing. I want to do a midpoint constraint between the line and the origin. And then I got the same thing going on. So I'm not horizontal, but I can change the length of this, and it's always going to be centered at the origin there. So I'll finish sketch. And then I want to come over to my surfaces and do a loft. So I'm going to loft from this surface up to, let me start over. I'll X these out. Loft from this edge to this edge. And then I'll click OK there. So this is how I'm gonna get that swirly line kind of thing going. So if I go back and look at my sketches, when I lofted, it turned off the visibility of these sketches. So I can still drag this top sketch around to get this loft to twist a little bit more. If I get past 90 degrees, I think it's gonna reverse the loft. But what I can do is if I come in and edit this loft, I can drag these points to the opposite sides that they were. Now it's no longer reversed. And I can even go a little bit further with this loft to whatever looks right. All right, and then at this point, I'll turn off the visibility of those sketches and I can do back in solid, modify, I want to do split face. So the face I'm splitting is this. And then the splitting tool is this. And I'll do an OK there. So if I go into my bodies up here, I can turn off the surface body there. So I no longer have that. I don't really need it anymore. But what I got is these cool lines at these kind of cool angles here. So I want to create a sketch along one of these lines so I can do a sweep. So to do that, I want to go under construct. There's a plane along path. My path, I'm going to just click this line. And I like to drag it all the way to the end just so it's at the end. And now I want to create a sketch on this new plane that I created. And for this one, I'm just going to do a circle. After we get through with this, you can kind of play with, maybe you want to pick different shapes or something. But I'm going to do an 1/8 inch circle. So I do 0.125 there. And I'll do finish sketch. So my circle's along that path. And now I want to do create sweep. So my profile is this circle. My path is this line. And I'll click OK. So that gave me a pretty unique kind of piece of geometry there. There is a problem when you do this, and that is that it doesn't go all the way through. So you can easily overthink this, but the easiest way to get rid of this, if you just click that surface and then click delete on your keyboard, it's now gone. So if I'm going to come to this edge, click that surface, delete. Now we're got a nice looking path all the way through. All right, now we want to do a pattern. So if you come click rectangular pattern, it's also under create pattern. But if we just click rectangular pattern, within the dialog box, we can change this to a circular pattern. And then I like to do, you have different options here, faces, features, components. I'm going to try faces for this one because it's a single face. My axis, I'm going to pick what was the z-axis when I started. Depending on what plane you started on, it might be a different axis there. And then I can put these swirly lines in there as a pattern. All right, so I want a lot more than 3. I'm going to try 30 and click OK, see what I get. So this is a computationally intensive process, so it takes a little while when you do a big pattern like this with lots of faces. But then we get what we wanted. So you can play with the number there. Just know that I think as that number goes up, it's going to take longer to compute. And it wasn't that long, it was only a few seconds, but there is something to take into consideration there. All right, and then we can look at this. We have some sharp edges here, so we can do a fillet. So I'm going to click this face. I'm actually going to click the bottom face too. Let's see. It's having some trouble with that. So I'll do a 0.02 fillet just to get a little less sharp of an edge on those. So that filleted the inside and the outside edges there. So now that we have this, you can actually go all the way back to the original sketch and change any of these dimensions. To me, this looks a little wide. Maybe we want this to be like 1.5 and this, oops, 1.5. Maybe this should be 1. You can play with it however you want. You can change the spline here, finish sketch. And then of course it's going to take a little computation to actually get to where you need to, but that's a shape. Still, I would maybe make this top flare out a little bit more. So, but that's all up to you to play with, however you want it. And then this could make a cool thing to 3D print. And that's it. There you go. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's compare this to what we had over here. Yeah. Same idea. A little different. Thank you guys.